So guys, I'm taking my first walk in Sydney, heading to the Opera House. So I woke up in Sydney, and one of the beautiful things about being in this particular hotel is that I am centrally located in the middle of the action. So the first thing that I wanted to see while I'm here in Sydney is, of course, the Sydney Opera. I didn't want to hear about no kangaroos, no koalas, nothing. I had to see the Sydney Opera. So I got up and I just started walking around. Beautiful sunny afternoon here. I think it's actually this way, and then I'm gonna make that left further up. So this is actually my first official walk. Rough arrival here in the city. Had to take a taxi to a hotel, cancel that one because it was too far from the city. They always say location, 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 and it's so true when it comes to Sydney because it's so expensive to move around unless you take the train or the bus or something like that. So that was my first mistake, is booking a place that was cheaper but actually farther out. All right, so at first glimpse the city looks just like the US. Really, you don't feel lost out here, except that they drive on the other side like in the UK and stuff like that. So that's about it, but the architecture looks very similar. I don't have any major insights to give you guys here yet. But let's go ahead and take that walk to the Opera House. At least I'm on this side of the world at the right time of the year, because coming here during the winter would have sucked. Walking around like this wouldn't be possible. So again, it gives you some very strong San Francisco vibe. You know, this is Sydney for you guys. It gives you some very strong San Francisco vibes. It's like the US. I don't really get a European vibe the way the construction is. You know, it looks more like what you would expect from an American city. That's basically what I feel like. I don't feel like anything else but that right now. No homeless people, no guns. Everything is all right. So far, so good. Let's see. You know, I don't really feel like I'm lost, you know, which often when I travel, I like to feel lost. And for some reason, city doesn't do it to me. It does not do it for me. You know, it doesn't make me feel like I'm lost. That's the feeling I'm looking for right now. So let's see. Let's get to the opera and maybe I get to talk to some people. See what's up. This is one of the most difficult things about filming in the first world country, is that people are so serious and like boring. Most people that I know who travel worldwide, they don't particularly enjoy filming in the USA, and I'm the same way. And like Australia gives me that vibe, like I'm in the US right now. Everybody's just like all about their business. One of the things that struck me here in Sydney is how clean and safe everything seems to be. I walked quite a bit and I didn't see any bad neighborhoods. See, where I live in Washington, DC, you're gonna have a mix of everything. You have the nicest places, and like literally you can turn a block and you find yourself in a very shady area. So one thing that I noticed in Sydney right away, there doesn't seem to be a shady area, at least not downtown. I'm not sure what goes on anywhere else, but I can tell you right downtown, there's absolutely nothing. So you can walk around peacefully. For anybody watching this video who's worrying about his safety, there's nothing to worry about downtown Sydney. Australia is a fascinating country. So one thing you're gonna notice very quickly in Sydney is how clean everything is. It's very orderly, and really you can stop anyone on the street and ask them for directions and they'll be more than happy to give them to you. Australian people are super friendly and very nice. So when I found myself at this particular museum, I went inside. Unfortunately, I didn't record in there, but it's a place that I highly recommend. So guys, right behind me is the Museum of Sydney. All right, so this was the first government house in this state. And right now, it's a museum that features exhibits that tells you the story of the development of this beautiful city, from the Aboriginal settlement to the multicultural city that it is today. So they have a lot of different arts and artifacts inside. So definitely, if you have time and you want to take a look, this is the Museum of Sydney. All right, beautiful place. Very clean here. Again, this city gives me a Singapore mixed with the United States vibe. That's what I get right now. I haven't seen a piece of paper on the floor yet. Everything is like so pristine and clean. Let's continue. So I finally arrived at the Sydney Opera. This is a place that I've seen countless of times on pictures, postcards, documentaries. It is one of the most famous landmarks in the world. Right behind me is the world famous Sydney Opera. This is one of the most recognizable world landmarks. It was actually designed by a Danish architect. I would not butcher his name. It was designed in 1973. The Sydney Opera House is made out of 3 separate structures: the concert hall, the Jordan Sutherland Theatre, and the Bennelong restaurant. I'm not going to bore you all the details, but let me just say, generally when I see a place as famous as this, I'm disappointed, right? Most people go to the White House, they say, oh, it's much smaller. Now the Statue of Liberty is quite impressive, the Eiffel Tower as well. But many times when I go visit these iconic places, I'm just like, oh, it's smaller than it looks, or, you know, I thought it would be nicer in person. But this is truly, truly nice and beautiful. They have all kinds of shows, theater, art, exhibits. It attracts about 8 million people. After you're done here, you have this beautiful harbor. Okay, that's the Sydney Harbour Bridge. This is a beautiful place to take a stroll, walk around. Tons of tourists around here. On top of that bridge, you have people that actually climb up and some rappel down. This is if you're not afraid of heights. That is one thing your boy Ivan is not gonna do. No way. So you have this beautiful area here. You can walk around, take a stroll, and they have a lot of different bars, restaurants on that side. And then Chinatown, if you continue walking straight, it's not far from there. So we'll see what I can find. So the vast majority of the people that I found at the Sydney Opera were tourists just like me. So it kind of wasn't very helpful because I was trying to find someone who's actually from Australia so they can answer some of the questions that I had regarding their accents, where they come from, safety, and what about guns? I wanted to talk to somebody from Australia. It finally happened. Guys, I was about to get into the Sydney Opera, but I met this gentleman who helped me with some photos and videos. So we're going to talk about all things Australian generally. So meet Richard. Richard, you are from all over the place. You lived in China.
That's right.
You live in Sydney now, or
right.
You grew up in Brisbane.
That's right.
And spent some time in Melbourne. So if somebody's watching this video and they want to know where should they go in Australia, what would you say is the difference between those 3 cities? Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne.
You know, I don't want to offend anyone, and you really put me on the spot. But look where we are. I mean,
it's
just have
beautiful.
a quick look around. So,
yeah.
You know, you can't beat Sydney. So,
Beautiful city.
Yeah, sorry for all the home investors in Melbourne and Brisbane, but you know, yeah, this is the spot.
It is.
The difference is, well, it's not that much different. I mean, to be honest, spending time in Melbourne, they've got a little more nightlife. The culture's a little more rich, perhaps you could say. It's a little more diverse.
Yes.
So the Sydney's so beautiful, you know. Mm-hmm. This is where, you know, Captain Cook landed. I think. Don't quote me on that. So,
yeah.
You know, yeah. I'm staying here the rest of my life.
Right. Oh, right on. And there's this little rivalry I heard, or not rivalry, or talking smack, because I don't hear much of a difference between your accent and someone from, let's say, England. Would you be offended if I say
I'm
you sound
offended
British?
by that, yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, oh come on, we're not convicts anymore. But you know, what can I say?
Yeah.
There's no Kate Middletons or Prince Harrys out here.
Yeah,
Either, you
yeah,
know?
that's true. That's true. Now, do you take offense to people who say, "Oh, you know, Australians, they're just the children of our convicts, or former convicts. They're descendants of convicts." Do you take offense to that?
The children of our convicts.
Yeah, I hear that from several friends of mine from England. They say, "Well, that's what Australia is. You know, the ancestors were our convicts."
Oh, you know, I mean, why are they coming out here then? You know, I mean, yeah. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, a convict, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Look, we built this with these walls here for the garden. We built so many things in the city to lay the foundations, and we're just growing and growing. So, oh yeah, I'm proud of my convict history. I haven't been to jail, ma'am.
That's funny. That's funny. Now let's talk about guns. There's no guns in Australia anymore. I don't know how long that's been. Do you? And you mentioned you haven't been to the US, right?
I haven't been, but of course everyone knows a lot about US culture.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
So would you say, not necessarily you or most Australians, do you wish you had the right to bear arms or no?
I mean, to be honest, I'm going to elaborate a little bit here.
Okay.
You know, I was in the Army Reserves.
Oh, okay.
And I was best shooter in my platoon. So I love guns, you know. I mean, I like guns a lot, you know. You know, growing up in the countryside, yeah, I'm going to say some people in the countryside do have guns.
Yes.
And they're needed for hunting and so on, and
of course,
protect farms and cattle. But no, in the city, yeah, no. So I don't think it's a good idea for Australians to have arms. I think it might be worse than America.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, just because, you know, a lot of Australians... I don't think they'll be able to control themselves, you know. I think it'll be just like America, you know. I think there would be a lot of people out of control. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty happy the way things are at the moment. But
when you grew up, when you were born here, you had guns before, because Australia got rid of them at some point, didn't they? It hasn't always been outlawed the way it is.
I was born in '75. I can't remember people legally being able to carry guns.
Oh, is that
anywhere,
right?
Ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ever. I mean, you can shoot them in sport ranges and things like that, you know. Have a sports license or a hunting license.
Right.
And, you know, you can carry them in the back of your car as long as they're in a locked metal box and so forth, the usual way. So, but I've never heard of anyone ever carrying a pistol in this country.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have some friends, homeowners, that would say, you know, I would like to have a weapon to protect my home. If somebody's coming in at night, I don't have time to call the police. They're taking too long. I want to handle the threat right now. But here in Australia, what would you say to someone who says that? Because you don't have a weapon.
Yeah, no, right, yeah. Well, to be honest, I mean, leave it up to the police. They know you're not going to have a gun, so the likelihood of them just killing you for a TV or a car is less, you know, to be honest. Okay. So let the police handle it. Yes. And claim your insurance, you know. So, but, you know, if you're a bad person, you know they're coming for some reason. So you're going to have your own protection no matter what. Right. So, you know, but as an ordinary citizen, you know, more cameras the better. That's all I can say.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Now let's switch to something a little bit more pleasant. Kangaroos, because there's something I'm going to be taking a look at some zoo out here. Have you ever eaten a kangaroo before? For all the people who thought I was going to say, oh, the beautiful animals.
Yeah, no. It's not like, you know, I go out in the countryside and just jump on their back and start, you know, start gnawing on them or anything like that. You know, it's like, it's more like just a regular steak. And they're kind of like a venison, a darker meat, no fat, very high protein. It's not as enjoyable, of course, otherwise we would have started eating them a long time ago. But, you know, I hate to say this, sorry guys, they're almost a pest in this country. So you
That's
know,
what I hear.
There's like 50 million or something like that.
Yes.
I think more than the population of people. So
yes.
Yeah, it's an ecological decision. And the meat isn't that bad. It's not too bad.
Yes.
So yes.
One last thing before I conclude here, because I'm sure I took more of his time than he bargained for. I was just asking for a picture, and now he's out here talking to me.
It's all good.
When I was coming here, I heard, be careful, Australians are xenophobic, they don't like foreigners. But in my experience, it's been exactly the opposite.
I don't even know
These are
what
the
this-
nicest people.
I don't even know what xenophobia means, you know?
Wow.
I mean, xenophobic? What's a xenophobic?
Yeah, it shows you the difference between what people say on the internet and
Yeah.
the reality.
Yeah.
Australians are very nice people.
I guess so, you know. I mean, we're not going to go walking around saying hi to everyone we see, you know.
Yes.
We're in our own world, kind of thinking about things, I guess. But, you know, God, xenophobics. You know, I mean, we're a multinational country. I mean, I remember growing up in primary school, and I had friends from, my best friend was from England, the other one was from New Zealand, another one's from Vietnam, you know. I mean, if a person's a nice person, you know,
there's no
that's all
problem.
that matters.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, thank you for talking to me, Richard. I appreciate that. You have an amazing country. Guys, I'm going to continue to venture out. Come to Australia. They are nice people. Don't believe what you read. All right. Thanks so much for your time.
Cool. Peace out.
All right. Despite how many times I've traveled, this is one thing I'm really, really bad at. I'm bad at booking restaurant reservations, and I'm bad at booking tours. So when I went to the opera, I actually assumed that I could just buy a ticket outside and walk in. I didn't even check the hours. Unfortunately, it was already past the time where visitors were allowed inside, so I didn't get a chance to go in there. But I basically walked by this little restaurant that you can see right here, and I decided to continue my journey and see a little bit more of the city. The Sydney Harbour has a lot going on. Besides all the tourists and some of the locals that are sitting by the local bars and restaurants in this particular harbor here, man, you have a lot of different things going on. There's definitely a sense that Sydney is a romantic place. This is a perfect location. If you are thinking about your honeymoon, I strongly recommend Sydney. It's a romantic destination. So I'm leaving now the Opera House and just gonna be taking a little quick walk here, right by the Harbour Bridge that you see on that side over there. I tried to get inside the Opera House, but unfortunately it was closed. So maybe I'll book a tour and actually go inside and show you guys what you see there. You can see this is a little walk by the harbor, leaving the Opera House behind me. It's a beautiful sunny day. So I found myself in this place where this guy was performing some kind of street thing. He was jiggling of like fire and apple. Check it out, guys, just check it out. So after enjoying the scene a little bit, I actually took an Uber and I went to a separate area that's not too far from where I was, 15 to 20 minutes Uber ride, and I found myself in King Street North. This is another bougie place here in Sydney. Here you find even more boats that are docked over here. You have even more restaurants, a lot more bars, and dinner cruises. Now, I came here for one reason. I wanted to eat kangaroos. So far, I have not seen a kangaroo yet. But I told myself, coming to Sydney, I'm going to eat one before I see one. So I went to this particular restaurant that, was advertising that they do have kangaroo meat. Before anybody gets upset, let me say, kangaroos here are like deers in the United States. They are a nuisance. There are so many of them. There are more kangaroos in Australia than actual Australian people. As a result, they started eating them. And it's decent meat. It is not the best I've ever had. It's okay. Definitely recommend it if you come to Sydney. If you are not a vegetarian, try it. I would say it tastes like chicken, but it doesn't. It's like beef, but not really. It's hard to describe the taste. Maybe some place in the US actually have them. I actually enjoyed it, you know, but again, I prefer my beef steak. You know, I prefer my beef steak, but this is one of those things that I wanted to do during my time here in Sydney. So guys, I just had the kangaroo meat, and this area here is called the King Street North. You have a lot of dinner cruises that take off from here. It's a beautiful area to walk around. People watch. You have all kinds of characters out here. King Street North. And there are restaurants all throughout this strip right here. So after checking out the city, I decided to get back to my hotel. And I woke up the next day refreshed and ready for more action. Yesterday, I was at a little tour. I booked this one of those walking tours with a local company to check out some of the local bars. And I have to tell you, I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, it wasn't exactly what I've expected. People kind of hang out in cliques. And if you're a solo traveler like myself, it makes things a little bit difficult. But I did meet a few people, you know, from the United States. It's very interesting. Every time I end up booking these tours, you know, it's always other people from the US, you know, booking these Airbnb experiences, which is a good way if you're traveling and you are looking for things to do. Don't hesitate, you know, check out Airbnb experience. It's a good way to basically see what's going on, book tours, talk to the guides, and most of these tours are fairly affordable. It ranges from different museum visits to walk around the city, beer testing, food testing. I've done a lot of those, you know, through my years of traveling. So that's what I did here yesterday. We visited a few bars. One was a local bar, and you know, it's not really known by most people that aren't from Sydney, you know, mostly locals vibing there. You know, there's a tremendous amount of venues. There's really no nightclub per se that's part of the tour. I'm sure there's some nightclubs in Sydney, but that was not part of our tour. We just checked out some bars. Another one we went to had like a country vibe, so I felt like I was somewhere in Texas, you know. It was pretty cool, but again, like nobody dancing, just people in cliques drinking and stuff like that. For those of you who are familiar with the movie The Matrix was actually filmed here in Sydney, and we went to one of the bars where Keanu Reeves and his crew, they shot some scenes over there in that area, and they actually called the bar there today, it's called the Hollywood Hotel. So it's a pretty cool place to check out. So I decided, because this is so speed for me, I'm gonna go to an area that a friend of mine recommended to me, and it's supposed to be the local neighborhood where you can find the actual real Australians that were here. I don't have time to go in the main state where they're located, which is the Northern Territories, and the city of Darwin is pretty far away, man. Freaking Australia is huge. So if you come out here, don't be like me, you know, have more time so you can go and venture, because I'm very limited with time. So I'm just getting like a flash view of this whole country, or I shouldn't even say, I'm getting a flash view of the city of Sydney, and maybe I'll check out another city as well. But I decided to book a last minute ticket to New Zealand, and it was actually pretty easy. With a US passport, you just basically apply for the e-visa, and within 30 seconds, you know, it spat the freaking thing back at me. And I've been booking with this Australian websites here, which you have to be careful when you're booking these foreign websites. They have so many tricks. Book without insurance, book for insurance, and like the way that things are, if you don't pay attention, you click the wrong thing, they charge you extra fees for everything. It's like, man, can you want to charge me for breathing too? I mean, there's just like so many questions, you know, you have to answer. To book a ticket, it was a little bit painful. So I'm waiting for confirmation here on my ticket, but if everything goes well, I will be going to New Zealand as well. You know, since I'm all the way out here on the other side of the world, I decided, why not? You know, I might as well go ahead and take a look. It looks like my confirmation came in. Yeah, so, you know, let me hide my information here real quick and show you guys. So I got my booking that just came in, you know. So I just literally did that just now. So I'm excited to go to New Zealand as well. There's so much to see in Australia. There's so much to see in this country. It's so massive, but you know, hey, I'm trying to see every country in the world, you know. And of course, I wish I had more time. I'm all the way here. I'm not gonna miss out on the opportunity to go to New Zealand, you know what I mean? Wow, I mean, like, this is as far as you can go at the end of the world, except you can go to the Antarctica area as well, which is not part of my trip. But I'm like basically cruising to this side of the world real quick. This is very different content than what I normally bring you guys, but it's just to bring you guys along with me, show you what I deal with. Again, I'm going to complain about the prices here. Things are very, very, very expensive, even with the US dollar. And Sydney has a reputation of being diverse and multicultural. You know, it hasn't been really my experience when it comes to people that look like me. You know, I mean, you will find a lot of everything else, but not people that look like me. Like I saw only one other black person here. That was the airport, you know. I don't care, like I'm not like complaining about it. I'm just like letting you guys know. It's a little bit of a cultural shock for me because often I hear, oh, Sydney is like New York. Sydney, no, it's not like New York. It's not like New York at all. But anyways, I'm happy that my plane ticket came through. Everything is good to go. So now we're gonna go get breakfast. You know? One more thing as I sign out here. The time difference has been crazy. So this is the craziest time difference I've ever had. I thought I was doing well yesterday until they hit me. But like to figure out when I drop these videos, because I used like local East Coast of the United States, East Coast time, you know, I'm a day ahead, you know. So it's like when it's Sunday here, it's Saturday over there. When it's Monday here, it's like Sunday back home. So it's crazy because when it comes to time, I have to actually think, oh man, I'm posting this video, I'm a day ahead, I have to figure out the time. It's been fun, you know, to say the least. So anyways, so guys, one more thing before I leave the room. I travel quite a bit and I think I'm pretty familiar with like some of this electronic stuff traveling. You need to have your adapter, right? You should not travel overseas without it, so you can plug in your devices. So, you know, it was all fun and games until I came in this country. It actually took me a few minutes, and you guys are probably gonna make fun of me for this one. So the US has these two straight prongs, right? So you just plug it in and you can adapt your devices. I like this one because you can do the straight plug, or you can do, you know, this option here, which is nice. You can plug the 4 different devices. So anyways, this is, you know, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not gonna say the name of the company, but I like this adapter quite a bit. So when I came in this country and I tried to plug in my devices, this is what the power looks like in Australia. So you have the 2, but they're sideways, and then you have the one straight there. So mine has US, UK, and Europe. So when I pushed, it was like this. So when I pushed the Australian one, this is what came up. And I'm like, wait a second, this is like the US, like what am I supposed to do? It took me a couple of minutes to figure out I'm supposed to move this sideways like this. You know, you see what it looks like now? So when you're in the US, it's like this. And when you are in Australia, all you have to do is move it sideways like that. And the third hole right here actually does not get filled based on mine here. It does not, and it doesn't need to. It took me a while. I was like, wow, it says US, but actually I cannot plug it in here. You know, it took me a while to be like, Ivan, just turn it a little bit, you know. I was expecting the 3 prongs to come out, or, you know, them looking sideways as well, but no, you just a little twist and turn. Traveling life, you know, it's fun. It's fun, but it brings some stress at times as well. All right, so let me go ahead and turn off all the power here, and then I can move on to maybe show you guys the oops, it's getting dark in here. Maybe showing you guys the top floor. This is what it looks like here the hallway. This hotel is expensive, man, but it's not as expensive compared to other ones. I'm paying like $200 a night roughly here, and I'm downtown. If you want to save and go far, you can, but you're not going to save because you end up paying on your transportation costs. Like everywhere you go, you got to catch that Uber, or you have to take a train that takes an hour. It's a pain. So it's just better to stay downtown, you know. That's what you got. So they have a rooftop place here, but I haven't been there yet. We'll see. So you don't have to make the selection in the elevator. You just basically do your thing, and then I can go to the rooftop bar. I don't think the rooftop bar is open, but I'm gonna go and see if I can take a look at it. So guys, we made it here to the 11th floor, and obviously it's not the time yet. I don't think, you know, people are here already eating, but you have these little areas here. Hello, how are you? You have these little areas where you can sit down, do some work. They have the bathroom on this side, and then they have the bar. You know, this is the bar area here. Okay, very nice. Oh, they have an outdoor area. I can show you guys. That's what it looks like here. It's beautiful. Very nice and warm. Summer day in Sydney today. Oh man, look at this. Sydney, Australia. Here I am, man. Here I am. All right. That's what we got here. All right. Wow, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. You can come out here and catch some sun if you need that. I'm sun-kissed already. I'm all good. All right, so this is Sydney from the outdoor area here. Wow. So nice. So nice. Alright. That's what we have here. If you enjoyed this video, there's so much more content in this channel. You can press right here, right there. Every corner of the screen right now, there's a video. So check it out. There's something for everybody here. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Come on, let's go.